So if you do not know who I am, my name is Lisa Swanson. I am the owner and founder of Body and Soul Coaching, and I help women over 50 lose their belly fat, reclaim their waistline so that they can live confidently, joyfully as they grow older and and stronger. So, but I am here today to talk with Cheryl, who is also a health coach, and she has an incredible story where that she went through, which brought her to her journey right here in helping people with toxins out of their lives. So let me just read a little bit about Cheryl's background. So 7 years ago, Cheryl suffered from inflammation and autoimmune disease, and she found a functional MD, which I really want to ask you about functional MDs. She actively purged and replaced hundreds of toxins in her life and returned to wellness. Cheryl then wrote her award-winning book, It Feels Good to Feel Good. Learn to eliminate toxins, reverse inflammation, and feel great again. That's an amazing thing to accomplish. Okay, she explains toxins are everywhere and impacting our health, our children's health, and the health of our earth. It's all about toxic load. Each toxin that is eliminated is one step closer to health. Now, Cheryl has a BA from the University of California, Berkeley, is a health coach, Cheryl M. Health Muse from IIN, and her website is CherylMHealthMuse.com. I will share links in the comments below for Cheryl's website and where you can purchase her book, because believe me, after this conversation, you're going to want to get it. It's an awesome book. And she even has a free offer for you as well. So Cheryl, welcome, welcome, welcome.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here.
I am glad you're here too, even if it is late. But I'd love you to start off. I want to just jump right into it since we were late here, and tell us a little bit, like, how did you discover that it was toxins you really needed to focus on?
Well, I was a jeweler. I had my own jewelry business. I was designing jewelry, manufacturing it in China, and shipping it to all the majors. And it was a perfect storm. I was working 24/7, and I woke up one morning and I couldn't move. Everything in my body hurt, every joint, every muscle. And when I look back, there had been signs that this was building up that I had ignored because it flitted past me so quick, and I just kept trucking along. So I went to my conventional doctor. She ran tests. I went again. She ran more and more and more. And finally, she called me and she said, "There's absolutely nothing wrong with you, but I'm going to give you steroids." I said, "Why the heck am I going to take steroids if there's nothing wrong with me?" And I can tell you there's something wrong with me because I hurt.
What kind of symptoms were you having, Cheryl?
Every muscle and every joint hurt. It was hard to get out of bed. I had terrible brain fog. I was all puffy. I was obviously cranky because I felt lousy. I didn't want to move because it hurt to move.
Wow. So did she try to tell you that you had fibromyalgia?
No, she didn't. She just told me to seek therapy. So I said,
wow,
look, there's something wrong with me. I'm going to turn my business over to my staff and I'll find it. So I started researching, and this was in 2012. The functional medicine community, and I'll explain what that is, was running a series of symposiums at the time, and I watched 19 of them with multiple doctors. And they kept coming back to, I probably had autoimmune disease. I probably had something called leaky gut. And I was like, what the heck is leaky gut? And that there were two things I could do for myself right away. One was to lower my stress. And I always knew I had a lot of stress. I thought it was good for me. Ends up it's not good to be chased by a tiger 24/7. Yeah. And so I learned how to control my stress. And then I dug into toxins. And there's a great database called ewg.org. It's not exactly user-friendly, but you can either look up the exact product that you're using, or you can look up all the ingredients in that product.
Oh, nice. So, was that ewg.org?
EWG, the Environmental Working Group. They're the people who put out the Dirty Dozen Clean 15 every year. If it's on the Dirty Dozen side, it's got so many toxins on it as a vegetable or a fruit, you don't want to go near it. If it's on the Clean 15 side, you can buy it anywhere.
Right.
And it's after they scrub the vegetable 4 times that they publish the list, when it can't come off. There's so many toxins on it. So that's where I started. It took me 5 years to eliminate hundreds of toxins. And I did something that I didn't even think about at the time. I put everything I was finding into little file folders on my computer. And when I found my own functional doctor, I'll explain what that is next. And I got to a point where I do have autoimmune disease. She diagnosed me, but mine is, there's 140 of them. And I'm like a Chinese menu. I had a little bit from column A, a little bit from column B, a little bit from column C. So we don't have a name for mine. So it's called undefined autoimmune disease.
Why am I not surprised?
Yeah, I am never normal. At any rate, I reached a point after doing all this research and working with her after 5 years that I still have autoimmune disease. I still have what's called a flare where I will gain a lot of weight and blow up, but I don't have any pain anymore. And so that's huge, huge. To be able to get up and live my life without all of that chronic pain is phenomenal. So I decided that, and I started meeting other people who have doctors who tell them they're crazy. So I decided that I needed to be a voice because I didn't even know what I was looking for when I first got sick. So I went back to IIN, the Institute of Integrative Nutrition, to become a health coach. And at the end of my year, they asked me if I had a book to write. And I said, good God, that book is sitting there waiting to be written. So I started the book in November. I finished it January 15th, and it's 400 pages long. And since then, it's won 14 awards. So
that's amazing. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Wow.
So it's cool. So I keep saying I'm going to tell you what a functional doctor is because it's incredibly important. My doctor graduated from Yale. She is a regular MD. You can find functional doctors in your area by going to IFM, that's Frank, IFM.org. And then you put in your zip code, and anybody, whether they're a naturopath or an MD or whatever they do that's in health, if they are functionally trained, they show up in their database. I drive an hour to see my doctor, which I would drive much further than that because, honest to God, I got myself so far and then she saved my life. She did not run any tests like my conventional doctor. My conventional doctor ran a thyroid test from here to here. My functional doctor ran the test from here to my adrenals. All my T3s and T4s were off. I would never have found that for
me. Your doctor didn't realize that your T3s and T4s were off?
Nope, never tested that. My conventional doctor tested me for allergies. Only thing I was allergic to was the tape that held it on my back.
Right.
My doctor tested me for sensitivities. I had 18 of them. And some of them were things like chicken, which I had eaten a ton of. I used to joke, I'm going to eat so much chicken, I'm going to cluck. Well, guess what? It was causing inflammation, and it was part of my toxic load because I had eaten so much of it. When it went through my leaky gut, my body was attacking it. So a functional doctor is generally an MD or a health practitioner who had health issues of their own that they could not solve. So they went back and got further certification in functional medicine because a functional doctor looks at the whole body, whereas a conventional doctor looks at one system.
Right.
Right? Mm-hmm. So, I mean, my conventional doctor said, why are you getting so much blood done? Because I had found an integrative nutritionist who got me sort of along the way in the beginning, but then he looked at me and said, you're really sick and I don't know what to do with you. So I stopped.
Well, at least they knew to source out, right?
Right. So that's what led me to the functional doctor. I tease her, I am an onion. We keep going down through layers and finding other things to correct in my body. And you deal with weight loss. If your body's not working like a well-oiled machine, you're not going to lose the weight. There are all kinds of things that cause you to hold on to the weight that I had no idea about.
And actually, on a note on that, when you talk about if your body's not working efficiently, so I don't know about toxins like Cheryl does. You need to go to Cheryl to get some information on toxins, read her book, and look her up. But I'll have her link in here. When I first start working with a client, the first thing I have them do is just record. Just record. I'm not taking anything away. I don't believe in diets. We don't do diets. And the first thing we do, though, is say, all right, are you getting protein? Are you getting vegetables? We first look at what's missing in your diet and add it back in so you can be getting all your nutrients so that your body can work efficiently before you start saying, okay, now let's look at what maybe you're having too much of. So it's really important, guys, to get your vitamins, nutrients, phytonutrients, all of that in. But even doing all of that, toxins are changing your hormones. They're changing your microbiome in your gut and their blood.
They are causing leaky gut, which is the beginning of all chronic disease.
Right? So you can go on with that. I just wanted to interject in there and just share that because it really ties in with it. So then you see the functional doctor and they've tested and all these things. And how long did it take you to start getting rid of toxins?
Well, it took me 5 years to purge all of these. And then I recorded. My book is interesting and it's different from anybody else's because first, it's like having a conversation with me. I tell you what I went through and what led me to each of the puzzle pieces. And then when I started replacing products, there wasn't as much available 7 years ago that there is now. Right. So I shared with you not only how I found it, but what I replaced it with. And then I give you a workbook with the book. So as you read the book, if you find something that's toxic in your life, you write it in the workbook and you replace it when you run out of it. Because otherwise you'll make yourself crazy. And you don't have to. It's about lowering your toxic load. So
okay, that's really important. I love that you said that because I was just thinking, it's like, God, I probably could not even get up from my desk and find a million toxins. Well, not a million.
Yeah.
I'm sure I'm looking at, I get nail polish over here, right? It's like, what's in this nail polish, right? So, but I would drive myself crazy saying, oh my God, I have all these things I need to purge. And you can't do that. It's just like anything in your life. You can't start a new exercise program, do everything at once. You can't, well, I don't like diets. Everybody knows I don't like diets. But if you try to change how much protein, carbs, fats, water, and everything all at once, it's not going to happen.
You can't. And people kept saying to me, it's too overwhelming. And I said, it doesn't have to be. I did it systematically, and it took me 5 years. And I reached a point where I woke up one morning and realized I had no pain anymore. And that is a very good day.
That is wonderful.
So, and the toxins are everywhere. And in the beginning, I was trying all kinds of products, which is why I wanted to share what it was that I ended up with. If you don't like what I recommend, then you can go back to the EWG database and do some research. And like cosmetics, I was using an expensive French cosmetic. It was a 9 on a 10-point scale.
Oh my goodness. So what cosmetics are?
So I was poisoning myself right through my skin. But I went through a couple phases in terms of cosmetics because they keep coming out with more products now in the industry. And cosmetics are not regulated, so they can put whatever they darn well please into them. So you gotta be careful.
So I need to ask this because I have found that just even looking at food, I haven't even gone to toxins, that I am shocked that that a wealthy country like the United States allows so many things in our food that countries have banned.
I got angry when I found out that my government was not protecting me. But I came to the conclusion that we have power if we join together. There was a phrase by Howard Lyman in school that we need to become an army of one, meaning that we're all one, but if we join together, we can force change. And he declares that it takes only a 5% shift and you will start to see change. And there are places where I'm starting to see change, but it's taken this 7 years. But all those ingredients you can't pronounce in processed food, they're synthetic and they're not good for your body. So if you can't pronounce it or you don't know what it is, you don't buy it. You put it on the shelf. You don't need to know what they are. Some of them are, believe it or not, MSG, which I think we all know is bad for us, is now in processed foods under 39 different names.
Oh my goodness.
So we're getting It interrupts our ability to lose weight because it interrupts our losing hormones.
Right. So where somebody begin? Where, I mean, obviously,
let me start with the sort of most solid place, which is how our food is grown. I had no clue what GMOs were really all about. And in California, we actually didn't pass a law that we should know what they are on our food labels because there was so much misinformation, none of us understood it. So let me quickly tell you what that is. A GMO is one of two things. It's either a plant that has been inserted with Bt toxin so that when a little bug bites it, it blows up his stomach and it dies. Unfortunately, it's also blowing up all our bee stomachs and all of our butterfly stomachs. And when it gets into our body, it's blowing up all of our good bugs. So it's not a good thing eating Bt toxin. It's enough to make my hair go gray. The other kind of GMO is where they have made it Roundup ready. Now, if you've been following the news at all, Roundup has recently lost 3 major lawsuits because Robert Kennedy Jr. took them on and got them to turn over all their records. And they now know that Monsanto has known for 20 years that it's been causing cancer in us. So it hasn't stopped them from spraying the Roundup on it. So the Roundup ready plants are not just getting sprayed, they're getting drenched in Roundup. So we're getting a really heavy dose of this chemical called glyphosate. And it's nasty on a variety of levels. It's not only giving us cancer, it's stopping our plants from being able to get all the minerals out of the ground, and it's stopping our guts from being able to absorb the minerals that we did get from our food. And so we are all very deficient in things like magnesium. So when you go to your doctor next time, ask him to test it. I take a lot of magnesium. I'm still having a hard time holding my magnesium levels. And we need magnesium because it's responsible for 325 enzyme reactions in our body.
Yeah, magnesium is important. And also, so now I'm thinking, as you're saying this, what's going through my head is, okay, I already knew that our soil is not as rich as it was when our grandparents were growing up.
Right.
So our grandparents would eat a tomato or peppers or what have you out of the ground, and they got a lot of nutrients out of that. Now we don't let soil rest anymore.
No, we're not, and we're not rotating our crops, which is what our soil used to replenish itself.
Right, so it doesn't replenish. So already they don't even have the nutrients in it. Now add these sprays and pesticides they put on, blocks even more nutrients. Then the toxins that are in our body that now we can't even absorb the little nutrients that's left in there. So should everybody, like,
So that's the GMO part. Now let me go to conventional growing, because this is where I really got angry. Okay, I can avoid GMOs. I know how to do that. But most of our conventional crops are also being sprayed with all kinds of nasty herbicides and pesticides. Roundup is freely being sprayed, but there's a whole series of, some of them cause brain disorders in children. It's or something like that. There's all kinds of really nasty stuff being sprayed on our conventional crops, which is where the Dirty Dozen Clean 15 card comes in. If your vegetable or your fruit is on the EWG Clean Dirty Dozen side of the list, you can find it on my website in a couple of different places. Right. If you aren't familiar with it, you don't buy it unless it's organic, period. You do not need a strong, healthy dose of toxins with your fruits and vegetables.
Right. It's
the toxins.
Right.
If it's on the Clean 15, you can buy it anywhere.
But they change it every year, right?
They change it every year. It doesn't change very much. This year, kale got added to the list.
What got added?
Kale. Kale used to be on the dirty side, and now
probably because everybody was eating it so much, so they had the more mass production.
Right, but to give you an example, a potato has 39 different toxins on it, all of which are harmful to your body. So if you're eating potato chips that are GMO or potato chips that are not organic,
only potato chips.
Then with it.
So it makes you. So you say, okay, what do we eat?
So, I would strongly recommend that if you have a farmer's market, you go to the farmer's market. They may not be certified, but generally farmers markets are pretty careful to make sure that their growing methods are clean. And I know my farmers at my farmers market, and I know that they aren't spraying, and they're using things like little plants that bugs don't like around their what they're growing. There are ways to do it. To become certified, this is what's ironic. To become certified, you have to jump through all kinds of hoops and do all kinds of bookkeeping. That is why your organic produce is more expensive. And you're not using sludge and sewage to fertilize your plants if you're organic. Whether you're certified or not, you're probably not. There's all kinds of nasty things about growing food that will make you sit up and be aware, but you want somebody who is careful and cares about how they grow their food. And that usually will be from small farms. So get to know your farmer. I know you're on the East Coast. I'm lucky I'm in California. We have live food all the time. But if someplace where you can't get live food, eat organic frozen food in the winter, because then at least you're getting maximum nutrients because it's harvested and gets frozen. Or if you're going to the farmer's market, you want to get it as close to when it's harvested as possible, because that's when the nutrients are at their greatest potential. And I will tell you it's important, having gone through this, because your body wants to heal. But your body can only heal if you give it stuff to heal with. It's just like a computer, garbage in, garbage out. If you're not eating all kinds of nutrients from all the colors of the rainbow as often during the week as possible, I even add vegetables into my eggs in the morning. I was on a podcast that he said, eggs for vegetables for breakfast?
Always. I always have vegetables at breakfast.
Whenever I can fit them in, I'm putting them in. And it's important that you eat all the colors, because each one of them has a different gift. And together they work synergistically to make you healthy.
Eat the rainbow. Eat the rainbow.
Yep.
That's important.
So somebody asked, where are the worst toxins? They're in how our food is grown. But then that doesn't make you safe with everything else. Processed food, I eat almost none, and I don't ever eat anything that has something I can't pronounce or don't know what it is. And generally, if I'm eating something processed, it only has 4 or 5 ingredients, and I know what they all are.
Oh, that's good. So one thing before you step away from vegetables, does washing your vegetables help?
Does washing your vegetables help? You should wash all your vegetables, whether it's organically grown or not.
Okay.
But when it gets on the dirty dozen list, it's been scrubbed 4 times. So it's not coming off.
Okay.
If it's been sprayed, those toxins are going right on your plant, right into your body. So does it help there? But there's some blowback, and there's environmental things that are on your all produce. So yes, you should wash them all and scrub them a little bit. And there's vegetable washes that help take off the film that's on them.
So you don't just use, that's right. If you just use, I have heard vinegar in water.
There's also something you can buy, at least at my Sprouts. I think there are Sprouts on the East Coast. There's something that you can spray and it just comes off. Even Trader Joe's, I think, has a spray.
Okay, cool.
That helps you clean your vegetables.
Vegetables.
That doesn't mean that there's not toxins. Obviously, junk food is out of the question. Because there's nothing in junk food for your body to function on. So if your body can't function, and if it's starving for nutrients, it's going to gain weight because it's going to want something. It's not getting what it wants.
Exactly.
I had read, if you're overweight, you're starving your body. And I thought, how the heck does that make sense?
A lot of women that I work with, they're overweight, and they're not, and people think that they're overeating, and it's not the case. Sometimes it is. I'm not going to say always. Sometimes that's the case, but a lot of times they're eating the wrong foods, and they'll get hungry because your body's looking for certain nutrients, and it's saying, "Come on, feed me. I need these nutrients. I'm missing them."
There are 4 things that you eat that will stop you from losing weight right off the bat.
Oh, I'd love to hear those ones.
Sugar.
Yes.
Sugar actually mucks with your 2 hormones that regulate your appetite. I used to eat a Thanksgiving dinner, and then I was still hungry a half an hour later, and my body would be screaming more. And how can I be hungry? Because it's addicted to the sugar, and my body was screaming that it wanted more. So that's the first one. If you're overweight and you've been told your whole life you have a problem with willpower, guess what? It has nothing to do with willpower. It has to do with
Can't
addiction,
rely on willpower.
with addictions to the toxins that you're eating. So the first biggie is sugar, and fake sugars, whether it's blue packet, pink packet, or yellow packet, they're no better.
Yeah. They actually mess with your insulin the same way that sugar does.
Right.
Yeah.
And they're neurotoxins. All but the yellow packet are neurotoxins, and the yellow packet kills all your good gut bacteria. So it's a losing battle, whatever it is.
Right.
I do use a little bit of the green natural powder stevia when I want something sweet. The liquid that I was using ends up, it's got stuff in it too. And a lot of them have dextrose in it, which is a form of sugar. So you've got to be careful.
If you see OSE, it's sugar.
Yeah. And if I want to bake, I use about half the amount the recipe calls for of coconut sugar.
Oh, I've never heard of coconut sugar.
Coconut sugar is low glycemic. It tastes like brown sugar. It's really nice. You don't eat as much. When you detox off of sugar, then you really don't care to get so sweet anymore. It actually tastes kind of blah. And it has extra things in it that are helpful. It's got minerals and benefits.
Oh, nice. I'm going to look for coconut sugar. I do have a sweet tooth. I like a little sweet.
And so if I'm going to bake, I usually now use almond flour because white turns into sugar. So I use almond flour and I use coconut sugar. And
that's good. Great tips. Guys, you writing this down?
And then MSG.
I can share them with you.
You have no idea how much MSG you're eating. It's everywhere. And it's in all your fast food. It's in all your processed food. And it also mucks with your hormones that regulate your appetite.
Right.
So
hormones regulate everything. I've always said to people, if you want to lose weight, it comes down to your hormones. It all comes down to hormones.
It does.
And I'm not just talking about your estrogen, progesterone, or your, that we lose as we get older. There's so many hormones and enzyme reactions that we have, for these hormones that it's all in there.
Well, and if you're stressed and you're having a problem with leaky gut, that also causes you to gain weight because you start storing cortisol in your lower belly.
Yes.
Because your body doesn't understand what's going on, and that will stop you from losing weight. And then my new one, I lost 45 pounds once I finished and was feeling better, but I haven't gone the rest of the way because I'm loaded with mold. And we couldn't.
Oh my goodness, Cheryl.
Was.
So how are you loaded with mold at 5 years of working on eliminating toxins?
Because mold is insidious and it digs deep.
Wow.
I also was loaded with heavy toxic metals. That didn't surprise me because I'm not
surprised by that. I
was born in Pittsburgh and I took all those metals with me. Well, guess what? I actually did take all those metals with me. It was like eureka when I ran a metal test. I had every metal known to man in my body, and that is now starting to leach out of my bones a second time. We got all of the ones that were running around my body the first time, but it's time to do another metal detox. But we're trying to get rid of the mold next. We tested my house. There was no mold there. And then when I went into my office in January, mold was growing across the back of my wall, right behind my desk chair.
Oh, my goodness.
Growing in my wall. And somebody had told me when I first got sick that she had tested it. Well, it ended up she had a roofer come in and say, there's no mold here. Thank you very much. So I sold my business. I was unfortunately in my office way too much until May. And now I'm trying to get this stuff out. And it's not so easy. It doesn't want to leave. So we're working on it. That's my next hurdle to get over.
Well, good luck with that. That's a big one.
It's a big one. And
it's a big one.
And the detox methods don't make you feel good either. So you don't want to go there in the first place.
Right.
And then all pesticides and herbicides cause our organs not to function properly, and that hinders weight loss.
Wow. So have you read any of Anthony Williams' books?
Yes. I'm not doing a medical medium type of approach. I'm doing a medical approach. I don't disagree with most of the things that I have read in his books. But I'm following pretty closely to what my functional doctor is. And I love her. Where you have generally a 6-minute appointment with a conventional doctor.
Yeah.
She spends 45 minutes with me. I
Okay, that's
research,
wonderful.
she researches, I go in, we have a robust conversation about what my next stages are. And then I have a plan to implement when I leave her that is not like
That's great.
I ever had from any medical doctor in my life.
Wow. Let me
And
just do
I
something.
warn you, most functional doctors do not take insurance. Mine does. So if you're going
Oh,
to,
very lucky. You're lucky.
they do exist. If you want to find a functional doctor, start with the list and call every office, talk to the office manager,
Yeah.
ask them what they do about insurance.
Wow. Okay, so let's see. Melinda said, I'm very allergic to mold. You can't bleach the mold out of your walls. No, you have to have somebody come remove it.
Yeah, and it's even dangerous for the people who are removing the mold. It's not pretty stuff. No, you can't bleach it out. You need an official company that does remedial work if you have a mold issue in your space.
Wow. So while I know Melinda is here, she had asked earlier about what toxins are. Oh, where's your questions, Melinda? I had mentioned them to you before.
Yeah, it was what were the worst toxins in food? And I think I covered that by talking about how our food is grown and what they're putting on our food.
Right. There's so many. It's impossible to just start naming them.
To pick a second one that's insidious, it's the BPA lining inside of cans and cartons. Those are endocrine.
I think BPA. I'm thinking plastic and things like that.
It's the white lining inside the can.
Even the canned foods, like if you go to buy chickpeas and lentils and things that are canned, it's in there.
Yeah.
But either that or they're in a bag. They're in a plastic bag.
Brand has no BPAs in it. They
What
made
brand?
Sprouts brand canned goods have no BPA in them. And Whole Foods, you look for it on the can. Whole Foods is starting to have a line of canned goods that say no BPA.
Okay.
So you want to look for that. Those are endocrine disruptors. It's why our little girls are maturing so much earlier than they used to. And at the rate it's going, our little boys aren't going to have any sperm in 20 years.
Oh, no.
So the BPA is a big issue.
Wow, that's incredible. So let's see. Kim is saying, are you talking about added sugar because almost all things have some sugar in them?
Yes, I am talking about actually anything that's added, not anything that's natural. So if you're eating fruit, I'm not worried about that. I'm worried about all
that's fruit. It's different than sucrose and lactose, all of that stuff. It's
all that stuff.
Fructose is a little bit different. It actually is utilized by our liver, and our bodies use it differently.
And fruit
doesn't mean the first thing wrong.
Syrup is god awful. Corn syrup, you got a double whammy. It's genetically modified and it's really nasty in the body as a sugar.
Right. It's so Melinda's saying she loves Sprouts. I have never heard of Sprouts. I wonder if they're around here.
I'm not familiar whether or not you guys have them on the East Coast. And I only mention that I have them, so I'm telling you where I find this stuff.
Right. There's Whole Foods around here. Everybody complains about the price of Whole Foods.
Just read the can. If it's BPA on it, BPA free, then that's an okay one to buy.
Fruit with chocolate syrup is a no-no. Yes.
Not the fruit that's the no-no. If it's real fruit, it's the chocolate syrup because that's going to have all the crud in it.
Yeah. I think Melinda's being a wise guy.
I eat a piece of chocolate every day. That's 70% or higher. It's our treat after dinner. Chocolate is actually good for you. So
it doesn't mean to have a chocolate bar every day. And everybody, you need to know if it's good for you. Like I actually had a client who loved to have her chocolate every day. And she got mad at me because I was telling her not to have it every day. Because for her, it didn't work. Because we're all different. We all need to eat.
Everybody's different.
Some things that Cheryl can do, I can't do. Some things I can do, Cheryl can't get away with. And this woman is just like, hey, I should be able to eat chocolate each day. And it's like,
I want you to learn to listen to your body. Because had I been listening to my body, I would never have gotten as sick as I did.
Right.
Because my body was telling me it takes 20 years for toxic load to build up and topple over the top.
Wow.
My body gave me all kinds of signs along the way. I just ignored them.
Right. Yeah, and you can't ignore things. And it's very easy to because we're busy. Everybody's busy and you don't want to take time to go to the doctor and things like that. And I just think about the way we eat, especially in this country. My brother-in-law is from Germany, and he's always talking about how unhealthy Americans are. And you go to other countries and they say that about Americans all the time. And because we say we don't have time to eat, we don't have time to exercise, we don't have time to meditate, we don't have time to sleep. We go to fast food restaurants and it's killing us. And it's like you need to take time out to research this, read Cheryl's book, find out what's going on in your body, where all these toxins are everywhere. Start meditating, because you talked about stress toxins as well a little bit.
There's a whole section in the back of the book which I call Toxins of the Mind.
Right.
Toxic lack of
Negative thoughts.
Toxic relationships. I was in one when I got sick.
Yeah.
One morning, and he looked at me and said, "I don't like it that you're sick."
Yeah, I was in one myself. My first marriage was horrible.
Yeah.
And I can remember when I left my first husband, and I'll be honest with everybody, it was a very toxic relationship. It was abusive. It was horrible. And I remember people telling me, saying, "You look like crap." And I was like, "Gee, thanks." It's like, well, just trying to tell you, Lisa, you don't look so hot. But it was all the stress. Stress can really kill you.
And I have a chapter, the very last one, exercise for people who don't like to exercise. Which
There you go.
because toxic lack of movement is also horrific to the body.
Yeah, all the stuff. We were built to move. We were built to eat clean. It's, clean.
There are some big categories that you can eliminate right away. Fragrances.
So
Spray in the air. Well, that stuff you spray to take the fragrances out of the air. That's all toxic. The perfumes we're spraying on ourselves, that's toxic. If you want to have nice smelling air, or you want something on you that smells nice, use real essential oils. You don't need the rest of that stuff.
Excellent. So Melinda is saying, and Melinda, you're in my group. You should know how I feel about dairy. I won't touch it. She go, how do you feel about dairy products? I've heard they are inflammatory. They're incredibly inflammatory.
They are. It's a sensitivity for mine. So one of the worst things I had to give up was cheese, because I really miss it. But it's gone.
There's some wonderful vegan cheeses out there now. But of course,
there are some great vegan cheeses. They're not quite as good, but they're getting close all the time. Dairy milk is for baby cows. And so it's not for the human body. I have been told, which I have not experimented with, that if you really want to have dairy, it must be organic and it must be raw. Because there are things in raw milk that work synergistically with each other that allow your body to accept them better. But there's so many things we've been told that are deceptive. And one of the big ones is milk does not make your bones strong. It actually makes your bones weak, because it pulls. It's toxic. It's not alkaline. So it's protecting your kidneys. And it's pulling the calcium out of your bones to protect your kidneys.
Think about that, guys. U.S. has the highest incidence of osteoporosis and the largest consumption of dairy products. So like Cheryl was just saying, it's made for a baby cow. And if you think about it this way, the only reason that milk is available for us to drink is because they take that baby cow away from its mother and kill it. That's the only reason we have it. So there's that.
The whole conventional way we treat animals is another huge place. Not only is it obscene,
it's very obscene.
What you eat is what you become. So if your animal has been abused, you're getting all his stress hormones. You don't need his stress hormones. You've got plenty of your own. He's getting antibiotics and hormones so that he can stay alive long enough to make it to your plate. Right. That's not pretty. You don't need that stuff. So
they give him so many hormones. They're pumping milk constantly from these poor. They basically rape them to make them get pregnant, because they have to have them producing this milk all the time. And they are so sore, and their teats are so sore and abused that the government actually allows them to have a certain percentage of blood and pus in milk. I know this is disgusting and people don't want to hear it, but it's the truth. They allow that to go into milk. all
And
the
I will tell you, if you read my book, I'll tell you to read about this stuff. I don't go into great detail about any of it, but
Yeah.
if you're going to eat meat, which I do, I'm diabetic and I need it because it releases sugar much slower into my body. It must eat what it's supposed to eat. So for cows, that means he's pastured and he is grass-fed and grass-finished. You don't want them fattening him up at the end with GMO grains.
Right.
Why are you paying more to get the same amount of toxins in your body from the GMOs?
Yeah.
So it needs to be grass-fed, grass-finished. Sheep like grass, so they're safe. Pigs need to be pastured and they need to be
They're one of the worst ones to abuse. I'm vegan, if anybody doesn't know that already.
Yeah.
I've been vegan for 5 years. Matter of fact, I had chronic IBS with constipation for 10 years. None of the doctors could help me. I can't tell you how many doctors I went to. They said, drink more water, exercise. I'm like, really? And it just, nothing helped. And when I went vegan, it all cleared up completely.
Well, and I eat meat, and I am pagan, which is a term that Dr. Hyman has coined. He's a functional doctor, which means that what I eat in meat is no more than the size of the palm of my hand.
Good.
The rest of my plate, 3/4 of my plate is vegetables.
Excellent.
So whether you need a coach, I don't care if you're vegan or you're pagan, but you want to make sure that 75% of what you're eating is vegetable.
Right. So Melinda is saying that she is going more plant-based every day. Yay, Melinda. If you need help with that, let me know. And Karen said she has been 85% plant-based since January and can't believe how good you feel. Awesome. And just think of how much better you're going to feel when you start taking some of this. Get the workbook. Go to the book so you can get the workbook and start eliminating some toxins. Wild game. I'm sorry, Melinda had a question. What about wild game? I'm vegan. I don't know anything about it.
It was good because they don't have any of the crud in them.
Right. I know somebody had once said to me, oh, you're not going to like this. My husband's a hunter. And I said, well, I honestly have more respect for the hunter than I do for somebody just going to the store and buying meat. And that's what I'm against, the mass production of our food.
One of the best wild games I ate was we visited some friends of my husband in Montana and we ate yak. Yak is like a double sheep in size.
Yeah.
It was delicious.
Okay.
So,
I can't talk about meat. I have such an affinity for animals.
Be careful of your soy. It has to be organic. 95% of it is genetically modified.
Right. There's a lot of genetically modified soy out there. Yeah. Definitely have to read your labels and get good soybeans and tempeh actually is better for you than tofu.
Fermented soy is better for you.
Right. So go for the tempeh. So we've got to start wrapping things up because it's 7 o'clock. But if anybody has any more questions, is the book available on Amazon? Yes, Karen, it is. I have all my links right here that as soon as this ends, I'm putting all the links in here I've got links for you.
If you buy the book, write to me and send you a free workbook. The workbook helps.
Yes. It's always helpful. They have a guide to go things by. And you can also reach Cheryl on her website, CherylMHealthNews.com. And she even has a video about weight loss and an excerpt from her book on dieting, 12 tips to healthy eating and living. So I will be putting links to all of this in the comments so you guys can reach out to Cheryl and get a book. It's really, really good.
One of the best parts about the book are the resources in the back of the book. So not only are you going to learn.
It's not a book. I found it wasn't one I wanted to read cover to cover. It's one like, oh, let me look this up.
It is. It becomes a resource book.
Right.
And you can read it in any order.
Yes, absolutely. You're very welcome, Melinda. Yes, very welcome. And Cheryl, I want to thank you for your time. This has been phenomenal. You have so much information to give everybody. And I will take this video and it will go on my blog post so you can watch it over and over again. Of course, it'll live here on Facebook for as long as Facebook is around. and I'm sure Cheryl will have a copy of it as well. So I want to thank everybody for being here. Is there any last words that you would like to impart to everybody before we say goodbye?
The most toxic thing in your house are the little soap pods that you're putting in your washing or your dishwasher.
I use those.
If a toddler ate it, you probably can't get them to the emergency room.
I
You
use
certainly don't want to use dryer sheets because they're loaded with toxins. I bought little wool balls. They work like a charm. There's no toxins in them at all.
What did you buy?
They're little round wool balls. You throw them in when you put your clothes in the dryer, and they spin around with your clothes, and they come out static free, soft as heck, without any of the chemicals.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the one. Oh, these are probably toxic too. I thought you meant the dishwasher.
The pods for cleaning are extremely toxic, and the sheets you use for your dryer are the next
dryer sheets.
in your house.
Dryer sheets at all. What do you do to? Because I actually love the smell of clothes that have been out on a clothesline, but I don't have a clothesline anymore. That smell is awesome. So do you do any type of essential oils or scents in your wash?
You can. I use a little bit of lavender in a lot of stuff.
Yeah, that would be nice. That would be nice.
In my bath at night, my Epsom salt bath, which I do to get more magnesium in my body.
Oh, that's a great idea.
And when I don't do it, I can see my magnesium dip when I'm tested.
Interesting. Interesting. I'm going to look into magnesium. I just had some. I wonder if they tested my magnesium. I should look at that. I bet they didn't.
And magnesium helps you absorb your vitamin D, which is also crucial.
Right. So and we're all low in vitamin D. I use the wool balls as well. That's Karen. Okay, awesome. Use fabric softener or the sheets. They ruin the fabric eventually. Do they? I don't know. I've never used them.
I haven't had a problem.
Yeah. I'm sure there's so many cleaners and everything around our house. What about,
I found a magical cleaner. It's called Branch Basics.
BRANCH?
BRANCH, like the branch on a tree, and they plant enzymes. And I fell in love with it because I eat eggs a lot, and I hate the way they stick on the pan. So you spray the pan after you're done, before you sit down to eat, and you get up when you're done, and it just slides off because all the little plant enzymes did their work. Nice. I use it to clean my kitchen counters, my kitchen floors, my bathrooms. I even sometimes use it in my laundry. And
I'm putting this in the comments. So what is it called? Branch
Basics.
Branch Basics for cleaning.
And her website, she started as somebody who was giving advice on toxins in the home. And she's got great information on her website.
Oh, and whose website is this?
Branch Basics.
Oh, it's branchbasics.com? Okay, let me change what I put in here. So HTTP, Branch.
It's an amazing product.
.com. All right, I put that in the comments as well. All right, so my husband's knocking on the door here, wondering why we're not done yet.
The door just opened a crack.
Yeah, like, what's happening? I want to thank everybody for being here tonight, and I want to thank all the replay viewers for being here. Sorry for starting so late. We had technical issues. I didn't even know how to I couldn't get ourselves live. Thank goodness I found Be Live and got us in here quickly. Cheryl, thank you. Thank you so much.
This was fun. Thank you, everybody.
All right, everybody.
I'm passionate to talk about this. So.
I know, right? We could talk for another hour. I don't think my dogs would like that, but we probably could. All right, I will talk to you very soon. Thank you so much for being here, everyone. Have a great night.
Everybody.